Meatball Ron DeSanctimonious has not been doing too well lately. And you guys remember, we were actually one of the first people to cover this story. I think it was Abby Martin and Mike Preisner who got the story first, and then others picked up on it like months later. It was kind of interesting to see it because like this was something we covered when it first dropped, and then like 3 or 4 months after we covered it, somebody else covered it as if it was new. But no, credit to Abby Martin on this one and Mike Preisner on this one. They were able to learn that Ron DeSantis was at Guantanamo Bay, and he was directly involved with the torture of detainees. And they have a guy who was tortured at Guantanamo Bay who explains in detail what went on, how DeSantis was involved. And again, this is reporting that came from them, then we covered it, and then some mainstream media outlets later on picked it up. So it seems that it's pretty well sourced, and he does not handle questions about this issue very well. So here, he did this trip to a bunch of different countries around the world, and this is his like I'm going to run for president type thing. But he's going at like the low point of his powers, and so now it just comes across as like desperate and sad and like peacocky, right? So here he is. I guess he's in Jerusalem. I guess he's in Israel at this point because this is an event for the Jerusalem Post. Here's the headline in Mediaite. Watch, Ron DeSantis loses his shit yelling at reporter over torture allegations. So you're not going to be able to hear the question very well here. I've listened to this clip a few times, and I can't hear the question very well. Just know the question is about the reporting that he was involved directly with torture of Guantanamo Bay detainees. Listen to his reaction.
No. No, not all that's BS. No, totally BS.
Governor DeSantis say you were present during those meetings. Is that
Who said that?
detainees who told us that?
How would they know me? Okay, think about that. Do you honestly believe that's credible? So this is 2006. I'm a junior officer. Do you honestly think that they would have remembered me from Adam? Of course.
Dude, you're the governor of Florida. Your face is recognizable. That's your defense? How would they even know me? How would they even know that I exist as a person and that I look how I look? If they saw me back then and then they see me now, it makes no sense. Obviously, you forget what people look like immediately, especially if they become the governor of Florida, right? You know, if you're getting tortured, I have a feeling you'll remember the faces of the people who did that to you. You know, I don't think I would, those are faces I'd forget. That seems like something you'd hang on to for a very, very long time.
Yep.
Those meetings, is that
Who said that?
detainees who told us that?
How would they know me? Okay, think about that. Do you honestly believe that's credible? So this is 2006. I'm a junior officer. Do you honestly think that they would have remembered me from Adam? Of course not. They're just trying to get into the news because they know people like you will consume it because it fits your preordained narrative that you're trying to spin. Focus on the facts and stop worrying about narrative. Yes, sir.
That he is so smug and so wrong here. Notice, he doesn't actually take on the basic facts of the situation. Like, he wasn't like, I was never even at Guantanamo Bay. You want to know why? Because he was. And he does this smug, sanctimonious fits perfectly here, by the way. Credit to Trump for coming up with that nickname. Like, stick to the facts and not the narrative. Seems like you're the one who's trying to build a narrative here. They're asking you questions about reporting that came out. It's not like this is, utterly made up. Now, you might claim it's made up from the individuals, but, you might have to get into where you were at the time, what you were doing, give us your full story of being there, as opposed to just deflecting and saying, well, that's absurd. Is it really absurd? You were at Guantanamo Bay. All right, more.
Officer, do you honestly think that they would have remembered me from Adam? Of course not. They're just trying to get into the news because they know people like you will consume it because it fits your preordained narrative that you're trying to spin. Focus on the facts and stop worrying about narrative. Yes, sir. Yep.
All right, it looks like that's all that we get on that issue. So here's what actually went down. He was there at Guantanamo, and his job was, they were basically playing good cop, bad cop. And his job was to be the good cop and go in there, sort of like befriend the detainees, talk to them, and basically get their trust to one extent or another. And his job was to get from them, like, which torture method is the worst? Which one do you hate the most? And then when he got that information, he would go to others, tell them what it is, and then they would do that torture more on the detainee. And the guy said he was watching, he was laughing, and that's the argument. That's the claim. That's what's been reported. You can go back, by the way, and watch the original segment I did on this. Type in like Ron DeSantis Gitmo or Ron DeSantis Guantanamo or Ron DeSantis torture into the YouTube search. It should pop up, or type that with secular talk into there. It's kind of impressive to have somebody, a politician, who's a war criminal before they even have control of foreign policy. Usually you first have to have some control on foreign policy before you become a war criminal. He's already reached that point. So I have no reason to disbelieve the story. It has tremendous detail there. By the way, the thought I can't get out of my head is, how would Trump handle this situation? If they brought this up to Trump, he would probably be like, yeah, I was there. I helped with the torture. It was awesome. These are bad people. These are very, very bad people. They've done very, very bad things. I don't apologize for 1 second for keeping my country safe by any means necessary. That is, Trump would do it. Now, look, that would be grotesque, right? It would literally be boasting and bragging about torturing, which is illegal. It's a total war crime. You should be locked up if you've engaged in that. But that's how Trump would handle it, whereas Ron DeSantis just like breaks down, spurgs out, throws a tantrum, freaks out. So, yeah, he's just, there are times when he's done this where he flips out at the media, where it comes across as like, where the right-wing base views it as like, oh, look at him, he's like, he's a macho man and he's putting them in line, he's showing them who's boss. But in this instance, it doesn't come across like that. It just comes across as very defensive because he knows it's true. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.